Welcome to What's the Effort?
What the F?
Hello everyone. Welcome. Excuse me 1 second. I have to mute my phone. Please mute yours. I'm just kidding. Well, welcome everyone. Today I'm very happy to have Jose, who I have been calling Macorra, and it's Della Macorra, for heaven's sakes. So Jose is with us today, and I'm very grateful. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, thank you, Effie. I've been seeing some of your podcasts, and it's amazing the broad network that you have. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's getting there. I'm looking at the end of year 2.
I mean, everyone knows Pace, right? But I feel like, all right, everyone knows Pace, everyone knows Jamil, and then I'm like, all right, everybody also knows. If you know Pace and Jamil, you probably know Effie. Or have heard of Effie, think so. And they're like, "Who is Effie? What the Effie?"
There you go. That's funny. Well, welcome and thank you for being here again.
Of course.
So I am going to start off by saying that I was very taken by you right off when we first met, and I find your story to be rather interesting, to say the least. And I always begin a little bit at the beginning, just so that people have an idea of our guest in case they haven't met him themselves. And even if they've met him, a lot of times we don't ask each other about the early years. And I like to take a peek and to, ask, hey, talk to me. You sure were a cutie pie. I mean, not that you're not now. That's a really cute picture. How old were you there?
I wish I knew. I'm thinking maybe 2. Like I said, I for some reason I only had one baby pic in my whole camera roll, and it was this one. So I'm not sure how old I was, but I'm thinking.
I guess around there. Yeah. And where were you living? Where were you born? Talk to us about the early years a little bit.
Yeah, I was born in Mexico City. I lived in Mexico City all of my childhood. I then moved to Phoenix, Arizona for 7 years. When did you move? I moved 20.
Like how old were you?
2008, 2009. I went into 5th grade into Phoenix. 5th grade into Phoenix. And then I stayed there until my junior year of high school. I went back to Mexico City. This was all with my family. Went back to Mexico City. I did my last year of high school in Mexico City. And then I moved to Dallas, Texas, where I came to college here. I went to college 2016 to 2020, and I decided to stay here. So I've just been here just over 8 years.
Nice. Now, I find it curious that you basically had your entire schooling here, but you went back for your senior year?
Yes, that's correct.
Why?
My parents were like, my parents said, they gave me the option basically. And they said, if we don't go back, all your friends from Mexico City, you might never see again. You might not have a good connection with them again. If we don't go to Mexico City this year, and if you stay in the US, you're probably never going to go back to Mexico. Your friends, your connections, and your relationships in Mexico are probably going to disappear because they're from when you were, 1 year old all the way to 4th, 5th grade. So everything kind of aligned. My sisters wanted to move back as well. I have 2 younger sisters. We still had a house in Mexico City. We were renting it, and the lady that was renting it was just moving out, so we could move right back to our house in Mexico City. And I think we made the decision, all right, if we get back into the school where we had originally started, we would move back. And both myself and both my sisters got in. So we moved back.
Wow. I think your parents were very wise. It's good to have, no, seriously, it's good to have friends that know you from forever. Yes. And to give all of them up, it was a small price to pay to actually go back. But senior year tends to be a tough year for students to move because of the fact that they have to leave their friends. So I was kind of curious. So that's pretty cool.
I was leaving friends in Phoenix. I was going back to some old friends in Mexico City. It's not like I was going to get I was just going into a brand new school where I didn't know anyone, but everything, it was a lot different. It was in fourth grade friends. Now, we're in high school. So
like a homecoming.
Exactly. So it was really, I loved going back for my senior year. I loved it.
Nice. Yes. Very good. Very good. And then you said you came to Dallas for college?
For college, yes. I went to SMU here, local in Dallas. I studied finance with a concentration in real estate. And
so you already knew it was going to be real estate.
I always wanted to be in real estate. Yes.
What's always?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess when was it? 5th grade. We moved to Phoenix. My parents were they're house shopping. Where are we going to live? Where are we going to rent? Are we going to buy? And I was kind of very involved in the process. I liked going to all the open houses that we went to, going to the private, showings with the realtors we were looking at, do we want to rent? Do we want to buy? What makes sense? I wasn't involved in the financial decision. My dad was, right, along with my mom. But I guess some of my close friends, their families were in real estate. And what was it? It was a really close friend that his dad was like, "Hey, Jose, you know Spanish, right?" "Yes." "All right, how about I pay you if you go to this meeting that the neighborhood is having, you act like you live at one of the houses. It's a whole Latino community, and let me know what's going on, why they don't want me to put my building here, because they don't want to tell me." And I'm like, okay. So I went in disguise, I was like, "Oh yes, I live down the street. I saw the flyers." He sent me the flyer. What's going on? Well, he leases buildings to the state of Arizona, and they thought that it was going to be like some sort of shelter community. So the neighbors, the competitor told the neighbors and gave flyers like, "Hey, all is going to be filled with homeless. Everyone's going to be coming here to pick up their check." But it was just like the back office for the food stamps and all that. It wasn't actually the place where they wanted to pick it up. So He's like, "Oh, that's it." So he met with everybody, told them, "Hey, this is an old building. It's torn down. Homeless people are living in there doing what knows what. I'm getting it to lift it up. It's going to bring the value of the neighborhood up. Homeless people are not going to be roaming around your front door because they don't picking up the checks here. This is just the back office for the state that does all that." And then from there, I think he gave me like $500. It's the most I've ever made in an hour. And then I remember going to this office, and he was doing some warehouses and some other stuff. And it just, I always felt like I was a little bit around real estate and decided to, still pursue it.
That's so funny. And you were in the 5th grade?
I mean, I think at this point I was like 6th grade or 7th grade. But it was just me.
I was in the 5th grade when I started with my mom because she couldn't speak English.
Yeah.
So I was dragged into it. So I know, isn't it amazing at such a young age that you can actually have interest?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But like when you said when that you wanted to, I'm not 100% sure, but I've always liked real estate somehow, one way or another.
Nice. Very nice. So then when you got a minor in real estate, when you graduated, what did you do?
So my first year that I graduated, I went to I had a W-2 at a management consulting firm. It was like a management financial consulting firm where we had some clients and we did consulting work, and it was a bit of some project management involved in there as well. And around the same time, I knew that I wanted to get into real estate. And I was like, I thought at the time that bottom of the way you would start into real estate was by fixing and flipping. I didn't know wholesaling yet. So I bought my first house. I flipped it, made money, not a ton of money.
Did you fix it? Because if you didn't fix it, then it was wholesaling.
No. I fixed it. I bought it from a wholesaler.
Got it.
I flipped it. I looked at a comp that was right down the street. I met with my first group of contractors, um, which I ended up learning a ton from. I would actually set up an internet. I would be in my computer in my car working my W-2 job and would see inside how a house would be flipped. If they told me back then, hey, I know that LVP flooring, if they told me we're going to have it done in 2 months, I'd probably be like, well, I guess that's how long it takes to do flooring. Right now, I know if it's, let's just call it 1,000 square foot house, it shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 days to put LVP flooring. So it was me being there, active, learning everything. And I stopped flipping right where the interest rates started going up. And I had a really good, I knew how to manage my crews well. And I had a friend that told that basically he got screwed by a contractor. And I was like, oh no,
surprise,
it's horrible. Surprise.
happen?
And I said, he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to, foreclose the house. And I have the lender, this and that. And I was like, well, what's left in your budget? And he goes, this number. And I go, I can probably do it for that number. I'll help you out. And then that's when I started my construction, remodeling, residential side of the remodeling business. And I did one, then did another, all the way till last year when I bought my first. I still have it operating. It's still running, but I didn't own any real estate till last year.
Okay. So it was a renovations company then.
The renovation company, strictly residential. Now I also expanded into commercial, where we do restaurant build outs, white box spaces for commercial, brokers. They come in and say, hey, this used to be a nightclub, but we want it to be now a yoga studio. Clearly it was a nightclub. We want to rent it out to somebody that's going to make it a yoga studio. We have to give it to the client in a white box area, white box space, so then they can do their interior renovation. So we do those, and right now we're just finishing. Box,
if I understood you properly, means that you're taking down everything down to the studs. Maybe do you leave the washrooms where they were?
So it all depends how much they want us to demo, and generally we just have to leave. We have to stub out the plumbing, just have it in the back. We just have to leave a service for the electrical. We don't even have any ducts. We have the machine inside, and we just have one duct, just so the place can have some air. But we basically demo everything, paint it white. If there's tile, sometimes we tile and we just polish the flooring and just leave it as as much as a white canvas for the new client to come in.
Okay. So it's called the white box because it's painted white usually, and it's a free canvas, an open canvas.
Yeah, that's kind of what the terms.
It's totally like demolition, right?
It's demoing a lot of the old stuff in there, because whatever was there before, they're going to take whatever they want, and whatever they don't want, they're probably just leaving there. So,
Got it.
Sometimes if it's a restaurant and it's going to be a gym, you probably don't need all the gas lines, all the plumbing, all the water lines. So we have to take all that down. So expanded into commercial just this year. I didn't.
How do you like it?
Real estate here. I like it. It's similar to residential. There's different things. Right now, what we do is we don't do the architectural plans. They basically give us the approved plans. The client gives us approved plans on let's say what I'm doing right now, and another project that we're starting next month, a restaurant remodel. They give us the approved plans, and from there we read everything. If you know how to read plans, you start with the demo, then it goes to the plumbing. So it's basically, you need to know how to read them, but it's going through a Lego book of you first need this step to then go this step, and then you need to put this one and this one, and then it's just reading the plans and making sure you know how to execute everything properly. And there's obviously things in the plan that they don't know, once you have, right before you do your plumbing, if you're opening concrete, the slab in the concrete, you need to get your inspector to come out, inspect that, then you can close it. Then you need it's been, I wouldn't even say it's been a learning lesson, because I have a partner that's already been doing it, so it has been a learning lesson. But it's almost residential, but on a bigger scale.
Got it. The clients though would be a little different, right? Because
clients are a little bit different.
Do you find them different or not?
Sorry?
Do you find them different, or are they the same?
Generally, the clients are different because it's not a mom and pop or a single solo investor. It's generally somebody that has a team, they have an office, they have somebody, let's say for the restaurants, they have somebody that like they have a full team. So it's like if I need something from part of the client, it's a little bit difficult of when can we meet, who do we go with. We're doing they're doing the kitchen design, so we just now have to making sure that we're working with their kitchen designer to leave different things in place, or if they wanted to do the kitchen and design it, then we can. So it's just a little bit of bigger scale, and the clients can be different. The project I'm working on right now is actually for a friend that has this restaurant group, and we just did this first one, and then we're doing a second one starting. It should be in 2 weeks or so.
Nice. I like that repeat business. That's good because you know each other. You can cut right through it, and you're already friends, so you can get right to it, and it's probably more efficient.
Yes. He saw I was doing the residential stuff, and he called me. He said, "Hey, I have my business, my restaurant group. He's had some headaches with contractors in the past, and he's like, I am always going to need construction. Let's come and help me out." And I said, "Let's do it."
Nice. That's the best way to do business right there.
Yes. Now that's the construction side of things, where, like I said, I do have a partner that's had already been operating some commercial construction stuff.
Nice.
But like I said, I didn't really hold any real estate till last year.
Okay. So first, before we go on to that, what's the name of your development company?
It's called DVLP. And
Okay.
it's like we DVLP, we develop.
We develop. And if I got you right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's our little,
nice.
What do you call it?
Nice.
Slogan. We develop the future.
I love it. Do you get enough, where are you? Because you came a little bit late. I wanted to, excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Pardon me. I wanted to find out about contact info. And I know that on IG, you go by Pippo. Is that right?
Yeah, that's my nickname.
All right.
Doesn't mean anything. It's just a nickname.
It's just a nickname. Okay. Yeah. Well, nicknames can stick sometimes, right?
Well, it's stuck with me since I was 1. That's what my dad used to call me. And my mom was like, "Don't call him that. It's going to stick with him." It doesn't mean anything. But if you go to Mexico and you say, "Oh, Jose Macorra, Jose Macorra," and be like, "Oh, they're like, I know a Jose that I met, but there's a 1 million Jose's here." So if you say Pipo, like, "Oh, I only know one Pipo."
Exactly. Yeah. What about the develop the future? Where can people reach out to you if they want it?
They can absolutely reach out to me if they want to. We have a website, which
cool.
I believe it's. I'll bring it up, the website.
Okay, no worries at all. I'm just kind of curious because that's a pretty big step doing commercial. Mind you, if it's a friend, a lot of times you might not need it, but I was kind of curious because you know me, I was investigating you and I couldn't find it. So I was like, I have to get it.
It's wedvlp.com.
What is it?
wedvlp.com. I will bring it over here.
So you put the we in there?
Yep. That's
Oh, I see. We develop.
We're just getting it going, so we still need to update a lot of like our progress insights of what are the some befores and afters, and we're tweaking it.
Yep.
But that's our website.
Well, I like it. And let me just see here. I'm going to put it in there so that people can see it if they wish.
Yep.
And wait 1 second. Where'd it go? Sorry about that. All right, guys. So if you're looking and you want to get a hold of him, that's the address. And you'll know you're in the right place because I'll just give you a quick peek at the front page. I like it. It talks about development. I love the brand. We develop the future. I really, really like that. That's clever. Very good. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Good. So now you said you got your first property. last year. Thank you for that. Tell me about what it is and how, everybody wants to own that gets into real estate. There aren't
Yep.
very many people that say, no, thank you. I don't want an asset which is going to appreciate and pay me rent and all that. They don't say that. So tell me about the property you purchased. How did you find it? And what is it?
Yeah. So it, like I said, I always wanted to own real estate. I knew I always wanted to be in real estate. Again, I always wanted to own real estate because I wanted to collect rents as I was sleeping. And, you're not really collecting rents till rent is due, but it's part of it. So I always knew I wanted to get into some sort of single family home rentals and then scale to some multifamily rentals. And then, from there, seeing where it was going to take us. But it just didn't make sense to buy something conventional originally where you're putting 25% down. I wasn't that bankable at the time because I had only been working, X amount of years. And then even with my income, I was working on my W-2, working with some banks. They're like, they kind of cap you at what you can buy. So I was like, I don't really want to buy anything unless it's like 350 or more because I want to be at a little bit nicer area. I was worried about some of the locations where, the homes that were under the 200K price range or around there. So I just knew I wanted to buy something but it didn't make sense to put 25% down on a single family home that I was going to lease out as a long-term rental and collect maybe $200, $300, $400 a month of pure cash flow. Now, I started running some scenarios and I'm like, okay, well, let's say your AC goes out in 2 years and it's going to be $6,000 to replace. Well, if you're collecting $300 a month, it's going to wipe out, 2 years, 3 years of your whole cash flow for that. And that's if, you didn't have to evict anyone, if you didn't have any sort of maintenance, if you didn't have any sort of vacancy. Like, it's like everything had to align and then be like, it was going to go bad in maybe 2 years. And that was just an example, right? It didn't really make sense till I learned about co-living and PadSplit. So I ran some numbers and I was like, this makes a little bit more sense. Now it's not like short-term rentals and Airbnb and it's kind of like short-term. It's not the same, but it's similar where you could say it's a little bit more risk. It's a little bit more work. You have to do more research into it, but it's higher cash flow. So I was like, okay, I had the time, I can do it. I was like, let's go ahead and do it. So I actually found the property on Zillow. I actually ended up purchasing it conventionally, but now it made a little bit more sense because the cash flow was higher. Didn't really make sense to put money down and then have $300 of
right.
So I bought it conventionally. The PITI on that property is just over 2,000, is like 2,056, something like that. And I converted it into 8 bedrooms. It was originally a 3-2, and I added 4 rooms in the inside. It was a perfect layout to be able to add 4 rooms in the inside, extra rooms, and then 1 in the garage. And it's a 8-bed, 2-bath home. I'm currently renting it out through PadSplit, and it brings anywhere between 5 and 6.2, 6.5K a month. Obviously, I have to pay the mortgage, and I have to pay that, utilities and the expenses that come associated with it. But it was leaving a really nice cash flow where things started to make sense to hold some real estate. I actually went back 2 months ago, or I was 2 months ago. I went over there to check out just a property. Sometimes if I'm driving around, I'll go take a look at it. 2 houses down, they were renting out a house. So I called the landlord. He wanted $1,800. I don't know if he has a mortgage. I don't know if he owns it right, but he wants to collect $1,800 while this other property that I have is bringing in, I'll just put on average 5,500 or 5,700. Like just do it conservative. It's almost triple. Or it is triple. I don't know. I don't have my exact calculator.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
So from there, and I did all the construction myself. So I started getting a lot of people asking me about, once I shared my story regarding my first PadSplit and me doing the construction, I had somebody reach out to me saying, hey, I want to do PadSplit, but I just have to get a contractor to do everything. They wanted me to help manage it because they knew I was managing my first one. And I said, I can do the construction as well. So from there, I mean, at least this year, we've done over 25 PadSplit co-living constructions in DFW.
Nice.
But I haven't set up a property management where I can manage others' investments as well. I actually only manage one property that's not mine, and it was just because somebody came in and said, "Hey, we want you to do the construction on these 2 homes. Will you do the management as well?" I said, "No." They said, "Well, you do one. We're giving you 2 houses to do the construction on." I said, "Okay, I'll manage one." They actually right now, it's a guy out of Vegas. He wants to sell it. He's doing really good on it, but he just wants something more local that he can keep his eye on. I think he's a little bit more hands-on. So he's kind of giving me first dibs. So
Nice.
as a second PML, PMP opportunity, I do have this in the pipeline also if anyone's interested. It's a house.
Oh, nice.
PITI is even better than that first property I was talking about. It's a pure seller finance. So a little bit, I like them better than sub twos, but it's a seller finance option. It has 8 rooms and it brings more than my first property.
Nice.
Just because the expenses are a little bit lower. So it's a really good opportunity that was, I was just talking to him last week and it just came up really recently. So
cool. And you did the construction on it, so you know what
and
the
I
house
did the
is.
construction. A lot of times of something that could come up with PadSplit is neighbors. If the neighbors are complaining and they're texting you every week that something's happening, it's been really calm with the neighbors. There's absolutely been no problems at all with any of the neighbors. The city's been really relaxed. It's in a really good it's in a really good neighborhood for the PadSplit, close to highways, but it's here local to Dallas.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, we might want to talk about that after. But
Yes.
also, it is interesting to see how deals come up.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I was looking for my next one.
Right. If you
And
hadn't agreed to go ahead and do the management on one, you might not have gotten this as an opportunity, which is pretty cool.
I definitely probably wouldn't have. I would have had no way of communicating with him unless he said, "Hey, I'm selling it. If you know anybody that's looking to sell it." But now that he knows that I've been able to grow my portfolio to 9 properties across, 70 rooms across 9 properties, hopefully closing this one, the 10th, making it 78 rooms. He's like, "Okay, I know you're looking to scale. I know you're looking for a strategic partner that wants to come in and help you grow and scale." He said, "I know this is out of your entry fee just because he wants to get his money out from what the renovation cost and what his entry fee to the seller was." But he was like, if I'm giving you first dibs since I know you're looking to grow and we'll go from there. It's perfect because somebody can go into it without having to have to do any of the construction. It's fully constructed, basically cash flowing since day one. It's a better deal than if you were to buy against something, maybe seller finance. It all depends on the entry fee, but the PITI is really, really good. But in Dallas, these creative deals are flying by. Like it's like you're either seeing it that hour and looking into it, or you're going to have no chance.
And you said that this one's going to be seller finance. Is that right?
It's a seller finance deal. The owner doesn't own it outright. He's seller financing it from the previous owner, but he's passing that on. Like I'm basically stepping out of the deal, make the introduction that I passed it on. We can just say to my partner and go from there.
Nice. That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
So you said you have 9 already and 70 doors, and then that would make it closer to 100, to 10 and 80. Sorry. How many rooms is that house? 8?
So this other house is 8 rooms. So it would be 10 properties, 78 rooms on the market.
Nice.
The goal that I put myself last for this year was 100 doors. So in 2024, I want to get 100. So we'll see if we reach it. I stopped buying a little bit because I was focusing on my commercial side of the business and a lot of really good projects on the residential side. So if I want to reach that goal, I know I need to, be looking out on the properties because they go quick. I need to be active. I need to connect with more wholesalers and potential private money partners or private money lenders that want to partner on deals.
There you go. There you go. I think it's very attainable because you still have 2 months and a half, actually.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, that's
The-
awesome.
The year started slow. I didn't acquire anything all of January or February, and then March, April, May, boom, like 4 properties. So, I'm hoping I can get a little bit of that traction coming here in November.
Nice. Very nice. So tell me a little bit about, you went to school and you learned and you were curious yourself. Let's talk about mentors. Who do you see? Who did you learn the most from? Or who are you in any, I know you're in sub 2, but have you connected with any mentors that are personally, guiding you? Talk about mentors. How are you learning when it comes to people?
I actually wasn't in any sort of mentorship or group prior to joining the sub 2 group with Pace. I almost learned by doing. Like I said, I knew I wanted to get into real estate. I bought my first flip. I bought the property. I found the funds to do it. I was managing myself, and I was in my car working my W-2 job, just seeing how this house went. So it was almost like don't be afraid, learn by doing, and go from there. So I hadn't joined Pace's community or just sub 2 group when I was flipping. That was afterwards that I learned, and I, browsing YouTube and some of different strategies and what else was out there. That's when I learned about sub 2. And then it was immediately like the proximity. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of friends that were doing real estate in Dallas. I didn't know a lot of people that were doing real estate overall. I mean, my Instagram friends were just my friends who are, living their own lives. And my Facebook friends were just my friends living their own life. So until I joined sub 2, I can say that was like a pivotal moment of just going through the comments, see what people are asking, learning by what people are putting in there. I think when I joined, there were 4,000 members. Right now it's grown over triple that, but really, I can say joining the group is kind of what kickstarted everything. It was into getting clients in Dallas, getting partners that wanted to invest in deals, learning about even the strategy co-living. I hadn't known about co-living.
How did you learn about co-living?
I think Pace did a Zoom. And I joined it and I said, I love this strategy. I'm going to look more into it. And I did my full due diligence. I think it was 4 months that I was doing full due diligence mode of PadSplit, co-living, what it was. And then I said, okay, I'm going to buy my first property in I think I said, summer of 2023. And I bought my first property summer of 2023. And then for me, it's always making those goals, right? It's just an attainable goal.
Yep.
I never thought I was going to be able to, when I said I want to get 100 doors in 2024, I didn't know about PadSplit yet. So I was like, this is going to help me get my goal, because although it's still a single family home, it's still 8 tenants. It's still 8 doors. You could look at it as a little multifamily investment, but it's not really multifamily. It's a single family home. So,
I hear you.
Making those attainable goals and just up to. So mentor, it's just, really, I don't have like one person. I could say Pace, right? Anybody in sub 2 is going to say, oh, Pace is my mentor. He's taught me this, that, and et cetera. But there's not someone in Dallas that I meet with on a monthly basis. I think it's just, trying to get my first deal done. It's just not being greedy and going out there and learning. And a lot of people come to me and say, hey, Jose, I have an awesome deal. Could I run a couple of things through you? It's a PadSplit co-living deal. This, that, this, and that. And they go, sure. And then they go, some people tell me I just have a really we're having a really hard problem getting a private money lender on this. And they go, because they asked about your experience. And they go, yes, how did you know? It's like, because if
You
I
were
were to
there.
private money lend as well, if it's your first deal, it's extremely risky. You would, I mean, Effie, I think would you lend to a fix and flipper that's never fixed and flipped? Maybe
Absolutely
if,
not. No, no.
no, but I mean, maybe if there was, you had certain, it wouldn't just be a normal deal. It would have to be something, that would really have to make sense. Maybe the area very well. Maybe you could assist in some other ways. But to somebody random, you wouldn't just say, okay, here you go. Because the
Right.
contractors can steal your money because they're asking for a
Exactly.
25% deposit, and they're just scammers, and they're not even contractors. They're stealing your materials. The market changes. You were just going with the wholesaler's ARV, and they said it was going to be 200, and boom, you want to sell it. The real estate agent says you can really maybe only sell it for 175 if you get lucky, right? There's a lot of different things that are
Yep.
unknown. So,
Yep.
so
No, if someone contacted me and said they wanted to they got a great place, fix and flip, and blah, blah, blah. And I came to learn that they're just starting, this would be their first. I would say, okay, let me think about 4 to 6 names of really good people that you should partner with. Because I won't
Yep.
lend to you, but I'll lend to those people, meaning they have done a lot. Learn from them, because otherwise you're going to lose your shirt and my money. So,
and that's where I was going, is the biggest thing and the biggest advice I can give to someone that's starting on a co-living or on a flip is partner with somebody that's done a co-living or a flip. Like, but I found a deal and it took me 4 months of my time to find the deal, and now I just can't find the lending on it. And I go, you're never going to find it unless you're partnering with, or unless it's a family member that wants to lend you the money, and they're just maybe making a little bit of a bigger risk because they're your family member. So it's always connecting with, don't being greedy on your first deal, connecting with somebody that will get you that experience, and then saying, okay, now I did one PadSplit. Maybe it's not a huge portfolio, but I have experience, right?
right.
So I always say, you can, if it's something in Dallas, bring me as a partner. We can make it work where it's a win-win scenario for everyone.
Right.
Effie's trying to
Finding
raise
the
money.
deal is very helpful, like a real deal. Like it's something that's has equity, or a number of things can make a really good deal.
Yeah.
Finding a good deal is very wonderful, and it's got value, but it doesn't go anywhere without the money. So if you don't have the money, then go find out what you need in order to get it. So if it's a partner, they're well worth it, because without them, you just have a contract. That's it.
And I will say, this is how you find a partner, right? You can look, and you can, let's say Effie is looking to do a co-living, and she is trying to get funding from Pace, but Pace is saying no because you don't have experience. Effie can go and say, hey, well, Pace, actually, this wouldn't be just me doing the deal. I'm doing a deal with my partner, Jose. Jose has 9 properties. And those 9 properties, I'm not including the one that I manage. I'm talking about properties that I own equity in. So I have a partner. His name is Jose. He manages and owns 70 rooms with 9 properties. He has his own construction company as well. So he would be the construction. It's all vertically integrated. He will be managing the house as well, meaning if anything happens, he has his in-house crew that will be going in. Oh, the toilet is clogged. You're going to call the handyman. Oh, a handyman might charge you $250 just because he has to go out there. Jose, on the other hand, he already has his in-house crews that can go and do this for $50, $70, whatever that is. We would actually be going in with an experienced operator. Would you want to lend with me now? Well, let's hop on a call, show the projections, show everything, and then you can discuss the details. So this can be like for a co-living, but if it's for a flip, do something similar and say, if the deal is good, anybody that's flipping is going to want to go on a deal to partner on it. If it's your first time, you are bringing a deal, but just know you're not bringing the experience. So just be conscious that everybody's like, all right, but I'll give you 1%, and then you have to do everything. And then I brought the deal, but I'll just say there's the first one, don't be greedy. And once you do 1 or 2 or 3, you can go off on your own, maybe after 1. But the first
Yep.
learning
Well,
lesson is going to
I'd
be the
wait.
most
I'd wait
important one.
past 1. But
Yeah.
you know, I think I might have mentioned to you that the AlphaGator beta testing group, which is you know, a white glove, white label lending, they will lend on PadSplit, but they want you to be with PadSplit and they want you to have 10. So that's quite a high standard. But not very many hard money lenders will lend on PadSplit. You know, not that many.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
was so excited about that, and then I was like 10. Okay, that's all right, because what happens with PadSplit is once you have 1 or 2, you do want to have more. So I think that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. So if you're just starting off, don't think that just jumping in is the way to go. It's much better to be part of a team that you can learn from, for sure.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of people are probably like, I've never heard of PadSplit. I've heard of PadSplit. I thought Jose was only going to talk about PadSplit. What is PadSplit? Right? There's a lot of information online about PadSplit. Basically, you're renting the room. You're renting a room inside a home. The room is private to that person. That's their room. The common areas can be shared. You could have a private bathroom or not a private bathroom. How PadSplit does it is they do it on a weekly. They collect rents on a weekly basis, and then at the end of the month, they give you your payout. And they help. It's basically the Airbnb for short-term rentals, but for co-living. They're going to manage they're going to be looking for the tenants. They're going to be screening the tenants. They're going to be doing the rent collection. And a lot of people, I don't know, PadSplit I feel like has had some bad rep with the septic community ever since they changed the how much they charge. They used to charge 15 days. Now not 15 days, 15%, 14.75 of the credit card processing fee. Now they brought it down to 8%, but they take the first 10 days. So a lot of people are saying, if they stay there 11 days, if they stay there 10 days, I don't get paid anything. You don't get paid anything. Now, the reason they did this is to incentivize hosts to have a really good move-in experience. I have people that have lived at my properties since I've opened them.
Nice.
Right? I was just going through the tenants at that property that I manage that I'm potentially going to buy. There's been 2 to 3 guests that have been there since they moved into the room, brand new room. Right.
Right.
I think that don't quote me on this. I think it's 5 months where they have to stay. So it's better with a new fee model than the old fee model.
Yeah.
Before it was 10 days, before it was 10% because they were adding the credit card processing fee to you. So I think 8 months, it went down to 5 months after they took that processing fee, and they're charging now the members. But to me, I use it as a tool. I use PadSplit as a tool where yes, I could potentially hire a VA, and I would have to teach the VA to do all the management. And there's a lot of people that rent out the rooms on themselves, and that's completely fine. It's still co-living. It's just managing it differently. Here, I use it because I don't have the time, or at least I haven't hired somebody to, do all the paperwork, screen the tenant, do all the rent collections. Imagine 70 people. If I was doing it weekly, right? Collecting 70.
Would you do it weekly if it was on your own, or would you do it monthly?
So what I like about weekly is I've evicted one person, right? I knew they were late because they had missed 3 weeks. I was lenient on the first week because they promised they were going to pay the second. I was lenient on the second week because they promised they were going to do it on the third. I was not lenient on the third because they said they were going to pay the fourth. And I said, hey, it's what, week 70, you're going to pay week 71? No, right? So I liked it weekly because then I can be like, okay, I knew they were going to pay the fourth week. Now, they're late month 1. Maybe you're lenient. And then when you're lenient on month 1,
I understand.
Then you're going to be lenient on month 2. So now, it just extends that portion.
That window of opportunity for them to, drag you along is shorter when you're going by the week.
That's exactly what I was trying to get to. And I have a really good heart, and I tend to be like, okay, sure. Just please make sure you pay by then. And obviously I have my limits, but I try to be a little helpful, and overall, especially if they're moving jobs, they can provide documentation that they're moving somewhere else. But that's a lot easier, and you can track that a lot easier on a weekly basis and a monthly basis.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, very nice. I think that the analogy that you have voiced about PadSplit being like Airbnb is actually a good one, because they're really a tech company more than anything. They're a tech company which has a big platform, and they collect money, which a lot of platforms do, and they do advertise for you, and they do get the people in for you, but they don't do any of the repairs, right?
No, it's just like Airbnb, right?
Right. So
Let's
if you had
look
an
at it
Airbnb,
as the member.
you'd have to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
let's
just
look at it as the host. That if your microwave goes out, Airbnb is not going to be like, hey, I got my Airbnb technician that's in the area going to replace your microwave. No, the host is in charge of it, right? If you ever seen an Airbnb and the cleaning isn't completely done, and they were cleaning as soon as you walked into the Airbnb, still, you're talking to the host. You're not talking to Airbnb. So here it's the same. Like, something happens to the property, you as the owner have to make sure that's fixed. Now, PadSplit has a really nice tool where a request comes in, it tells you the address, who did it, what room number, what it is. They can submit a photo, and then I actually use that as my little CRM to keep track of all my maintenances.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
it's very easy for me to handle. I take a screenshot, something plumbing related, take a screenshot, send to my plumber. He doesn't even have, he just tells me it's done the next day, right? He doesn't have to ask any questions. He knows how to get in. He knows what he has to do. He's not asking, everything in that maintenance task card is in there, that what he needs to know, and that's it.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Cool, I'd say. With the one that you are already managing, if you were to purchase it, would you put it on PadSplit, or would you manage it yourself? Because you're already managing it.
Well, so I would put it on PadSplit, but when I say I self-manage, I mean I don't have another person managing the maintenance and the repairs and any messages that come to me. Some, like this guy, what he did was said, "Hey, I'm going to put it on PadSplit. PadSplit is going to do the rent collection, the rent, the tenant placement, the rent, the screening, and all that." But he hired me apart from PadSplit, and this can just tell you how much. This can tell you how fruitful the cash flow is, that you can manage basically two, if you could say managers or the platform plus a guy. Now PadSplit helps with a lot of the things and communication, but you're still in charge of the maintenance and some communication and all of that. So
got it.
So it's not completely hands off. You still have to do some things. It's not just what do they call it? Mailbox money. You're still having to do something. Now for this guy, he is, because he hired somebody like me to operate it and if it was truly mail. Oh, sorry. Last thing I'll say, I was looking at our messages. I don't think we have more than 30 messages. Like, you can go like this 4 or 5 times, and then we're at the top of our conversation in the whole last year.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, very interesting. So tell me about the houses that you have. Are they co-ed? What's the age group of the people? Are you niche oriented in any way? Tell me about the members.
Yeah, no, it's co-ed. PadSplit came up with but they have like I can either approve or deny. So whenever somebody moves in, I actually give them a physical call. I talk to them for 5 minutes. I go over a couple of rules, and I just want to see how they act on the phone. Are they saying thank you? Oh, I don't have any questions at this time. Are they actually asking questions? I even send them a little PDF of move-in instructions, and I said, please read this and let me know once you've read them. And I know it takes at least 2 to 3 or 4 minutes to read. If I send it to them, I'm not joking, within 5 seconds or 10 people say, I agree. And then I'll ask, what time are the quiet hours? And they say, they take forever. Like, you didn't read it.
Was that in there? That's a great question. It wasn't in there.
Yeah. So go back, read it, and actually read it. And then that can give me a little bit of perspective. Like, are they going to follow the rules? Are they asking, are they doing what I'm telling them to do? And that I can now judge, do I want to accept them or not accept them? It's all co-ed. 50% of the members will have a vehicle. Average income is $40,000 a year for these people. I have people that work at Target, Amazon warehouse. Some people that work from home, there are customer service lines for different providers.
Okay. Interesting. What about age?
It really varies. Age, it really varies. I think the youngest guy that I have must be 21 or 22. He's a guy. And then the oldest, I think he's maybe like 57.
All right. All right.
We'll put 20 to 70, 20 to 60.
There you go. So talk to me about, I know you have the goal of getting to 100 doors, and that's awesome. But what about next year? What kind of where's your path going to lead? You now know that it's going to be co-living because it is a very good asset, niche for sure. But what are you looking like? What are your have you got your plans for next year, the year after? What's year 3?
I want to keep buying co-living properties. I'm actually looking into doing ground up construction duplexes for co-living. So having like the bottom floor be 6 rooms with a private bathroom, private, a desk, a closet, and then on the top another 6 or maybe 7 and 7 ground up duplexes strictly for co-living. Wow. Again, I have my commercial crew, so we can do that. We know how to read the plans. We have all the plan expediters. So that's one thing on the co-living.
Okay.
I'm looking to potentially starting an affordable housing fund. So what that is it can fall into Section 8 housing. It could fall into some of these co-living situations. It can fall into, I open up the fund a little bit more broad to affordable housing. I'm not just saying it's a co-living fund or this type of fund, right? So within my network, a lot of people that are looking to potentially, get into real estate, they want to look into it. That's a small little goal. I did just purchase my first seller finance business in Dallas, which I now can say it's an embroidery business. So cool. I'm probably going to take that over 100% in January. The owner's going to stay in the business probably for another year. I found it myself because I was getting these shirts done for the commercial construction. The guy was taking longer. I had met him a couple of times. He was managing himself. It's an older Asian guy that I could tell he was tired. He only had one employee in there. I said, well, it looks like you have a lot of work, but you have one employee. He goes like, yeah, I can't find, workers that want to come in and work. He didn't really want to manage the workers. And I'm like, that's exactly what I do every day. And I asked him, would you sell your business or are you going to pass this on to your kids? My kids don't want it. He actually owns the building where it's in. So he's like, my kids don't want it. I'm just going to rent it. I'm going to have to figure out what to do with everything in here and then potentially just rent out this place to someone else. And I go, would you sell your business? He's like, you don't want it like this. After several talks, he said, I wouldn't have actually sold it to you if I didn't think you were going to be extremely successful at doing it. Back in the day when he had a little bit more energy, he had it fully occupied, was doing really, really well at it. But again, he's older now. It's been a business that's been in the Metroplex operating for 35 years. So we're getting suppliers list, customers list.
Wow.
His computer is still one of those old computers that are, those fat old computers. He's just there like, typing back the emails like your order is ready. You can tell it's not very efficient. So, hire somebody else.
Meanwhile, you're using just your cell phone. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So
funny. That is funny.
Hiring somebody in there that can do it and just learning, and what's going to be great is they're going to stay in the business for a year to kind of teach us the ropes and then go from there. So expanding they don't have a website. So expanding this, opening a website, getting it up and running is going to be a big goal.
Nice.
But the embroidery business, some of the co-living stuff, the construction stuff, just overall.
Are you going to get the land with that embroidery business too?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when he sells it, we're going to be the first to know because we want to buy that for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
I love it. That's it. You're doing everything right.
Yeah, we got first pick at buying that building, and so far he's been a man of his word, and he's very traditional, Japanese. He's like handshake and it's done. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. I'm like, no, we're drafting up paperwork, lawyer, like this. It's like, if you're not going to trust me, then like, how do I know I'm going to trust you with my building? Like handshake. Okay. Handshake. Obviously we have things in writing and everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he's a funny guy.
Yeah, and you can always blame the lawyer, right? Pace says
Yeah,
blame the
exactly.
lawyer. Well, no, Vina says blame the lawyer.
You're the lawyer. We're the bad guys. We're the good guys.
Yeah. No, the IRS told my lawyer I have to get it on paper. I'm just kidding. That's awesome. That's very
Yeah.
nice. Is that embroidery?
This is embroidery.
It is.
Yes.
All right. When are you closing on that?
First check is for first deposit's already sent, so no turning back. Paperwork is signed. We're taking over January, but
Cool.
we're technically missing just a second check payment of the down payment, and then going from there.
Nice. Well, I want to come to you for my shirts.
Absolutely. Yes.
For sure. I want them embroidered. It's not easy. So he'll stay on, right?
He'll stay on. The only thing like with embroidery is like a lot of times you see the shirts that say like, we buy ugly houses, call us big numbers. Like a lot of time that's just the print press. That's a print press where you put the shirts in these machines, and then there's basically this big print press that goes around, and it's got arms, so imagine like a hand, and then it just moves around depending on the color and what it's printing. That's printing. Embroidery is more like, on a hat, what it says on the hat, or like this, something, a smaller logo. This is embroidery. Embroidery has a circle about this big where you put a little circle on the shirt or on the hat or whatever you're using, a vest, and you put it in the machine, and then it just starts, embroidering away. And that's why it's good at, like, for smaller logos. For bigger logos, like a t-shirt, the whole back is, we buy ugly houses. That's kind of just the printing. We can do it embroidery. It's just a matter that we're going to have to be moving it around the shirt.
No, it doesn't need to be embroidery in when it's that large, but when you're facing the person and you're wearing a brand, I think it's important that it be really nice. Myself.
Yeah, this feels nice. After, this is not going to go anywhere. Unless the shirt breaks, but this is not going to go anywhere after 30 wash loads. The other shirts, you can start kind of peeling off a little bit. It starts kind of, the paint looks a little crackled. It doesn't look so, these are, when I'm meeting with a client or whatever, have I'm always wearing my shirts.
Why not? Of course. I love it. It's important, and it's tax deductible too, since it is advertising.
Exactly.
For sure. So where do you think you're going to be in 3 years from now?
I mean, I want to, at the end of the day, I think I want to own large multifamilies.
You do?
Yeah. Large multifamilies, probably start a syndication. Maybe in 3 years, hit 500 doors, 750 doors.
Nice.
In larger multifamily. And, still, if something makes sense with buying a single family home, or at least something for like for the, the affordable housing fund, still doing that, but looking at like bigger scales, having a full team in place, having a full accountant, bookkeeping lady, a full, a finance guy, a full operations guy, a full a guy that's doing all the different maintenances. And we're not only looking in Texas, probably would. I would say because if I do a syndication, right, we probably have the GPLP structure, but probably have a partner in there. But that's kind of where I'm looking to steer into.
Nice. Very nice.
And build a development company. Are you kidding me? We need to build a 30-story high building downtown. We'll see what comes out of it. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. That's the way to do it. Are you in Vina's group by any chance?
I am not in her mastermind group. I'm in her free page.
Yep. Okay. That's a good start, because Nick is a good lawyer to know.
Yes. Yeah. I talked to Vina personally, and she recommended me into that. we can go on and on about some ideas I have of starting funds where a lot of people internationally in Mexico want to invest in the U.S. and how to set that up. They want to invest in real estate and in the U.S. Right, so figuring out a way of how you actually structure that and build a fund through that. So it's there's a lot of things that I'm wanting to do, and I know I will do. It's just before I was like, I want to speed the time up, and I'm like, I kind of want to slow it down and need a little bit more time to figure all this out.
Good. I love it. Well, I want to say thank you very, very, very much. And I would like to have you back. I'm not sure whether it should be 1 year, year and a half, or 2 years, but you got to come back and move us along in your path.
Absolutely. We can do a, we can do an update. We can do the business, how it's been going, how I've been able to grow it, how it's hopefully grow it. And
what do you mean hopefully?
We're operating. Well, I mean, in a year or 6 months, whenever it would be, hopefully by then we'll have a full team staffed in place.
You already have a few.
We're away from the business and we're teaching people how to operate it, and we're just sitting at a very high level on how everything is working. Right. But yeah, I'll absolutely love to be back.
Thank you. But before we go, you are already not by yourself, right?
So this is my first time buying a business and a seller finance business, and I found the deal. So I brought a partner that had a little bit of experience growing businesses, operating businesses, having systems in place to do this. So I brought him in so we could both do this. And again, partnering up with people that are already doing it, not being greedy, saying, I want 100% of the equity and I want 100% of doing it. I know he's going to plug in some of his people into the business. He's going to have it's a strategic partner at the end of the day. So I'm already doing it with somebody else, even though I found a deal, it's seller financed, a great opportunity. I wasn't being greedy and saying it's all mine, but I'll just pay you a little bit to come help out. No, I want to make sure that he's happy and he's invested as well in the business to make it grow even further. So definitely not doing it alone.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Please come again. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Thanks, Jose.
Thank you, Effie.